All right, hey guys, here we are. Hole number 7 here that I'm setting my bag up for. Now, I'm not really sure what I want to do here. I'm thinking probably a kingmaker ball. And, you'll just want to try to play the wind effect. Let me make sure I got landscape on. Looks like I do, so all's good there. I am going to go landscape. If you don't have landscape, what I'm going to do today is going to be a little bit harder, but also it is still doable. But I am going to go landscape just to get that little bit of extra push. Most of the guys who miss this are too much to the right, and you still can do this without the landscape. But I highly recommend doing it with the landscape just to get that little bit of extra push over. You're going to want to play the wind effect and also, the wind angle and direction that you have. So you got to be thinking about these things when you're going about setting up for the hook that you're going to see me do if you choose to go this method. Otherwise, you would have to probably do some kind of layup. I would prefer, recommend you guys laying up towards the right and try to give yourself a thorn pitch. If you want to see a layup that is kind of similar, you can check out my pro guide. I have in my pro guide, I did lay up and do a thorn. It would play very similar to that in expert, especially if you were to lay up with, say, a Win 4 or a Win 5 ball. But you can still do it with a kingmaker ball. But if you guys want to see that, you will be able to see a relatively good, revision to where you could lay up and still get it with a thorn. But what I'm going to do today is going to be a little bit more aggressive. Now, I have nothing wrong with that method that my opponent just did there. But the only thing is, you got to make sure you hit the fairway. It's very hard. Most people go too many rings on that. So here, you got to try to anticipate where this landing zone is going to be. So what I'm going to do, maybe just a hair more than 3 rings, not very much. And I'm just trying to, anticipate. And, that wind's going to play about 6 rings, so that's what you just saw me go there. And then I'm just going to stack 1 bullseye, and I'll go maybe, 2 additional rings on top of that. And I am going to go full and also hook it as much as possible. Now, you might ask, why am I going so few rings? Might be a question that you ask, and here you can see, it actually comes in too far. And it looks like I did catch the bunker. Sometimes you catch the fairway back there. So there's a glitch. So some guys could get lucky. And as I mentioned, you're just going to want to tweak that top spin. It's going to be very wind angle dependent on whether or not, you could see there I use 3 something, and sometimes that might work. Sometimes it might be way short. It's going to be all wind dependent. And also keep in mind, with the way that you guys are adjusting. So there you see me. First, I play the wind, so that's what my initial adjustment is in the fairway there, if you guys were counting what I was doing. So where I first initially moved over into the fairway, that accounted for the wind. And then all I did on top of that was just 1 full target plus about 2 rings. And that's all it's going to require for an Epoch 5. Now, what you guys might, be thinking is, well, why are you only going that far? Well, most of the hooks that you guys see, they're mega tailwinds. So with any time that you're on an extreme tailwind, way downhill, for instance, you're going to need to go more because the ball's in the air longer. So you can see that the ball's not going to have the air time, so you won't need the wind effect. And here you can see kind of where I'm setting up for this pitch back here. You can see about how much wind I'm playing here. And that's what I would kind of recommend. Put it on the green and just hope for perfect ball. It looks like I caught a great ball and should just miss, unfortunately. So hopefully your guys' perfect ball timing is on point. That's going to be kind of what makes or breaks your round. And so, today I'm only going to have, kind of just an average round because I think I got one, missed 7, and I've missed everything else by very, very margin. Just everything's been very, very close. So I'm just going to have, there's a couple positive strokes, but in terms of shot execution and, the way that they present and how you'll be able to use them and hopefully make just those minor tweaks, you can still get up into that, 15, 16 underside, no question, on this setup. If I'm on pace already for, still 13 under if I make nothing, then, with these marginal misses that you see me doing, would easily, put me up there towards that score. And what I usually do here is, quite a substantial ring adjustment. There's about 10. So here's probably, 15-ish rings. We're going to need a very good amount of curl here. And you can see I used about 3 backspin or so as well. Very aggressive. Looks like I did get it over here far enough, which is very complicated to do with that wind. So that's why you saw me hooking it so much. And it looks like I almost, with all that extra curl, actually had it to land. It landed very north on that fairway towards the left corner, almost like overhooked. So you do got to be a little careful of that. But in terms of a ring adjustment there, I'm kind of looking at, 14 rings there, 13 rings, somewhere in that effect when you have a wind like that. And the hardest thing, as I mentioned, is going to be, getting it to actually get over towards the pin. Most guys are going to miss this on the right-hand fairway. Now this guy is also going very aggressive with how many rings he just went. That was a ton of rings. So when you go that much, you might not need as much curl. So let's just see how this plays out. Looks like it just caught the rough. That's one of the things that you got to be careful of. When you land on the left half of that fairway kind of and not more towards the center, it brings that rough into play. So you do want to be a little cautious of that. Whereas I'm landing kind of north, the north quarter, you can cut it much harder back towards the left and kind of keep that rough out of play doing it that way. So good luck with that 7th hole guide. Hopefully that guide helps you guys, and see you guys for hole 8 coming up.